Okay. So for tonight's practice, I'll have you start off in a butterfly pose. So the bottoms of the feet are touching. If you want, you can use a strap to bind them together. You can use your blocks to rest your knees. And if you need a little more ease in the adductors or the inner thighs, take the heels away from the pubic bone. But if you're feeling like you want to explore a deeper stretch, you can pull them closer. And if you have your bolster handy, you can have it behind you. You're not going to recline back, but you can have it behind you for support. Okay. All right, so you're here for the first 5 minutes of the practice to bring your body to your mat, your breath to your practice. So get comfortable, get to a spot where you can be nice and tall. Have your hands connect onto the legs. And take a nice full inhale in through the nose. Sigh it out as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more full inhale in. And exhale. Now you can stay with the long cycles of breath. That's fine, but I want you to focus on the breath coming in through the nose and out through the nose. Now, as we start moving out from this pose, I want you to take 5 full deep cycles of breath. start bringing your, I'll make sure I'm reading this right, sorry. Keep your right knee bent and extend your left leg long in a half butterfly. Now, there's a couple of options here. You can have the leg directly out, or you can take it out to the side like a check mark. And what I would encourage you to do is first take it directly out, fold forward, see where you're feeling it, and then come back up, and then maybe take it out to the side, rotate, no, I won't have you rotate, and then fold forward again, and play around and see where you'll feel the most stretch or the best bang for your buck. You're here for 5 minutes. So I'm gonna line myself up here so I don't feel so wonky. Pick your spot. You'll come down the center. So you'll keep the torso and the spine straight. You won't have any rotation. Push out through the left heel. Reach the arms up high to the sky. And then slowly start folding forward down the center. Now you can have blocks or a bolster if you would like. Knowing that you're here for 5 minutes. And you can come back to the breath of noticing the inhale coming in through the nose. Give yourself a slight pause at the top and then an exhale coming out through the nose. You're coming into the halfway point of this fold, so if you want to play around with folding deeper, you can. Okay. Slowly take 3 deep cycles of breath. And after your third exhale, use the inhale to walk yourself up slowly. Coming up nice and tall. And then you'll switch sides. So extend the right leg long, bend the left knee, and bring the left foot in into a half butterfly. Once again, play around with where you want to fold, and you might find that the distance on the right side might be a little different from the left. Okay, so equanimity here won't play a factor because you're feeling this more in the hamstrings, and yeah, you can play around with that a little bit more. And then when you find your spot, reach your arms up high to the sky. And slowly start folding forward, resting the hands, or maybe you've stacked blocks. And finding some stillness for the next 5 minutes, but keep your right leg activated and engaged. Push out through the right foot, lift and spread the toes. Feel yourself push out through the right leg. And then come back to the inhale in through the nose and exhale. right, you're at the halfway point. So if you want to play around with going a little deeper, you can. Maybe return back to pushing out through the right leg. Take 3 more deep cycles of breath. And then at the end of the exhale, slowly walk yourself up as you inhale. Sit up nice and tall. Bring your feet flat. Hug the knees into the chest. And then slowly start tucking yourself chin into chest and coming down onto your mat, one vertebra at a time. All right. Keeping the feet flat onto the mat, bring the right knee into the chest and make peace fingers and grab a hold of your right toes. Coming into your happy baby pose. Okay, from here you can leave the left foot where it is, focusing on rooting down on all points of the feet. You can, or foot, or you can extend the left leg long, or you can turn out onto the lateral side of the left foot and allow the left knee to drop. So now you're in a supine corkscrew pose. So pick what works best for you. Okay. And you'll stay in this happy baby for 10 deep cycles of breath. So while you're here, I want you to really feel your right shoulder blade connect with the mat, drawing the right knee into the chest. And if you want, you can extend the right leg gently or not, but you're here for 10 breaths. then on the end of your 10th breath, hug both knees into the chest. You can take the knees wide or bring them together. And then slowly shift so the left knee is to the outside of the torso and the right foot connects with the ground. Stay here or take any variation with the leg long or maybe the foot turned out to the side. And then take a hold of the left toes with your peace fingers. Take one breath to suss around, find what you need. And then you are here for 10 big cycles of breath. And then at the end of your 10th exhale, hug the right knee in. Keep the knees coming to the outside of the torso. And then I want you to capture the bottoms of the feet or make your peace fingers with the big toe. And then find this happy baby pose for the next 10 breaths. And really focus on the back body connecting with the earth as you draw the knees into the chest. And at the end of your 10th breath, bring the knees back into the chest. Gently rock from side to side. And then bring yourself over to your right side and push yourself up into a tabletop pose. Bring the big toes together and take the knees as wide as the mat for a child's pose here. So if you want, you can have a bolster You can give yourself an incline. And you're here for the next 2 minutes that I really want you to focus on creating the length in the spine, drawing the glutes towards the bum. And coming back to the connection of the breath. Take one more big cycle of breath here. And then slowly push yourself up into a tabletop pose. Tuck under your toes and make your way into your downward dog. Set any props that you used off to the side. You may need them later, but for now, you are good. And you can bring your feet as wide as you would like onto the mat for your downward dog, or you can play around with the feet at hip distance apart. Really feel the connection with your feet on the mat. See if you can feel, at least maybe your heels aren't touching, but the lateral and the medial side of the foot as much as you can touch and connect with the mat. And then really press the palms into the mat so it lifts the tailbone up towards the sky. And you're here for 10 big cycles of breath. And then bring your feet hips distance apart. And then I want you to lift the right leg high to the sky and step the right foot to the outside of the right hand. And then plant the left heel down and focus on pushing out through the left foot and slowly start straightening the, the right leg best as can be. So you're going to feel this beautiful stretch in the hamstring. And if you want, you can always use a prop to prop yourself up. Play around with it here. If you're finding that the shoulders are coming towards the ears, that could put a little strain and tension in the upper traps. So you play around here and drop into your breath, really focusing on pressing the feet into the mat. Try to keep a straight spine, and if you drop the head, try to be certain that you're not allowing the shoulders to creep up towards the ears. Give yourself a shoulders check here. Make sure you're giving yourself some nice space in the neck. Rooting down in the feet. Maybe even play around with drawing the right hip bone in. That'd be your femur. All right, take 3 full cycles of breath. So as you inhale, push your feet into the mat. As you exhale, see if you can come a little taller. And then slowly spin the right heel back up. Bend back into your right knee. So now you're in your dragon or lizard pose, and then gently set the left knee down. If you need a deeper stretch in the left quad, that's where you'll guide the left knee back. If you need to be a little more gentle, bring the left knee forward. You'll come into your lizard or dragon pose for the next 5 minutes. And so I would recommend, if you want to come down onto a block or a bolster, but while you're here, try not to allow the right knee to splay out. Try to keep the connection with the right foot, and try to keep balance between the inside and the outside of the left knee, best as can be. And you are here for 5 minutes. And I'm going to try to stick with you. I'll project my issues. I hate this pose, but it's a really nice hip opener. So here we go. All right, you're coming into about a halfway point here. Give yourself a little check. Make sure you're not wavering too much from one side to the other. And then see if you can keep elongating the breath. And then if you've lowered yourself, slowly make your way up onto your palms. Take a nice full inhale. And as you exhale, walk your right foot over towards the left side of the mat. coming into your Swan Pose. Now, make any adjustments to the back leg that you need. Adjust the hips so you feel equal and balanced. Come up nice and tall. Take a nice full inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly start folding forward into your sleeping swan pose, where you'll stay for the next 7 minutes. So if you want to take a twist at any time, you can. If you want to bolster, you can take it. Use a block. I'll give you a halfway point to check back in. You're at about the halfway point in the sleeping swan. So I want you to give yourself a little check and adjustment here. Check to make sure that you're not dumping too much onto the right hip. See too that you've got a little balance in the left leg going as well. And I'll call you back. 3 more deep cycles of breath. And at the bottom of the third exhale, use the inhale to bring yourself back up. Come up nice and tall. Tuck under your left toes. And then carefully and slowly make your way back into your downward dog. If you want, you can take the right leg high, bend the right knee, open up the right hip. And then find some stillness once again in the downward dog. Once you get yourself planted and settled, take 10 deep breaths here. And while you're cycling through your breaths, I don't want you to compare, but I want you to notice left and right. How do you feel the left hip and the right hip move up in your downward dog? How does the grounding of the feet feel? And then find your feet about hips distance apart. Lift the left leg high and step the left hand to the outside, left foot to the outside of the left hand, and bring your right foot down onto the mat. Lift and spread the toes even as you plant your right foot down. And then carefully and slowly start straightening your left leg. Draw the left femur or the left thigh bone back. Try to give yourself some space in the neck, so don't dump into the traps. Come up on fingertips if you would like. Keep pushing through the feet if you can into the earth. Try not to favor the inside or the outside. Three more deep cycles of breath. the end of the third cycle of breath, slowly bending back into your left knee, spin your right heel up and slowly make your way into your dragon or lizard pose. So you can guide your right knee down. And once again, find this spot where the left foot can stay planted. And then it's yogi's choice. How deep do you want to go? And also keep in mind too, I forgot to cue this, how close do you need your kneecap to your hip? Knowing that you're here for 5 minutes, and I'll give you a halfway point, I want you to really be mindful that you don't dump too much into the left hip or let it sag, and that you give the right quad a nice chance to start opening up. Try to find some stillness, even though I'll probably be fussy. And we'll come to our breath. You're at about the halfway point here. So just give yourself this nice check-in. Make sure you're not favoring one side or the other. That you're not depressing the scapulas so that you give yourself, you shorten your throat, your neck. If your forearms are on the ground, slowly make your way so your palms are onto the mat. Take a nice full cycle of breath. And then guide your left foot over to the right side of the mat. Coming into your Swan or Pigeon Pose. Once again, you may need to make some adjustments to the back leg. And then find a sweet spot, but try not to dump too much onto the left hip or even the right hip as well. Come up nice and tall here for a full cycle of breath. And then as you exhale, slowly start folding forward, finding your sleeping swan here. And once you find that spot, I want you to really focus on a deep breath. And I'll give you a halfway point just to check back in. You're coming into the halfway point, so give yourself some subtle adjustments so you feel balanced. Give yourself a nice little body scan, make sure you're not dumping. And then come back to your deep breath. cycles of breath. At the end of your third cycle, make your way with palms underneath the shoulders. Tuck under the right toes and lift your right knee and come back into your downward dog. So if you want, you can bend and stack the hips. And then find some stillness in your downward dog for 5 cycles of breath. And then drop your knees to the mat and slowly bring yourself long. And then flip yourself over. So now let your face up and your legs are long onto the mat. Give yourself a full body stretch, reaching fingertips away from the toes. Exhale, release the arms down to the side. Feet splayed out. Take a nice full inhale in. Sigh out the exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And I want you to stay with the deep cycles of breath until you naturally fall into a steady rhythm. Okay. If you want to stay here, you can. If you want to end your practice with me, take a nice full inhale into the nose. Sigh it out. Reach your arms up overhead as you inhale. Exhale. Slowly make your way onto your right side into a fetal position. Take a breath or two here. And then use your left palm to push yourself up into a seated pose, sitting up nice and tall. Take a few deep cycles of breath. Reach your arms up overhead. Bring your palms together in prayer and down into heart center with a soft bow. I honor this place inside of me in which the entire universe dwells. It is a place of peace. It is a place of kindness. And it is a place of joy. And when I am in this place in me and you are in this place in you, together we are one. Namaste.